Hello, welcome to another Walkie Talkie. And as you can see, I'm out here in a horrific blizzard with high winds and apocalyptic snow. Oh wait, no we're not. Apparently this is the storm of the century. That we were under an amber warning for. Now, either this thing is just running late, bearing in mind that this amber warning came out yesterday, or it's just decided to bugger off and go somewhere else. But as you can see, we're not exactly dealing with the apocalypse here. It's quite well. It's cold, but it's winter. There's just a very, very slight drizzle in the air, very slight, and barely a breeze. If I didn't know any better, I would say that it was more a sensationalist, overblown news for this area. I can't speak about other areas. However, snow is a relatively normal weather feature in the winter months. So yeah, don't get it. Yeah, got a feeling that it must have been a slow news day, and they've got to fill up that hour of news, you know. Gotta keep people frightened, man. Gotta keep them glued to the TV sets, you know. Because it's all about the news entertainment, dude. That's what it's all about. Just reporting on facts. Oh, hell no. Gotta keep them scared. Don't fall for it. It's pretty damn certain we don't need an hour's worth of news of an evening when 20 minutes of it is talking about the fact that it's bastard snowing in winter. Anyway, we're out and about. And it's Friday, yay! It is the end of the week, hurrah! What the hell am I going to talk about today? I don't know. I thought I was going to get a line. I was expecting to be snowed in. I was expecting to see polar bears. I mean, shortchanged again, guys. So now I've got to try and find something to talk about. I was hoping to be coming out doing my Sunday stroll in a winter wonderland with penguins and polar bears and Eskimos and all other kind of Arctic stuff. But it looks like I'm going to have to find something other than that to talk about. Gutted. Oh well, we'll figure it. In the meantime, I'll take the time it takes for me to get from here to the park and try and figure what the bloody hell I'm going to talk about today. So I'll catch you then. All right. Here we are in the park. Well, I can tell you what I've been playing. That'd be a start, wouldn't it? If I can, like, remember how to walk. I'm tracking my feet then. So, I've had the game for a while on PC, but I've been playing a bit of the Precinct in the last couple of days. You start out as a rookie cop. It's sort of like a bit of a top-down, or kind of a top-down. It's more of a sort of isometric angle. It's got a free moving camera, and graphics are really good. It's a really good game. I've been thoroughly enjoying it. I think it's sort of a game that's gone a bit under the radar, it would seem, unfortunately. But I've been really enjoying it. I think it's an outstanding game. It is on sale at the moment on the PlayStation 5 as well. So I can heartily recommend it if you want something that's a bit different. I mean, it's not a simulator game. It's an action game, but there's a little bit of depth to it. And as I say, it has a sort of free, like a fully movable camera in sort of like rotating it and stuff. So it's not a fixed perspective game, but it is a kind of isometric. Not quite the top-down of the old Grand Theft Auto games. But if you were going to make the sort of the old style Grand Theft Auto games today, that would probably be the camera angle that you would use. But it looks good. It looks great. It was well worth the money I paid for it. I've thoroughly enjoyed playing it. You got unlockable stuff in it, you know, that you don't have to pay microtransactions for, because you unlock it as you level up in the game, as it should be. You can unlock new vehicles and paint jobs for your police vehicle and uniforms and stuff like that. And I believe I've not unlocked that bit yet, but there's a canine unit that they've added into the game. So, well, I've not got that far into the game yet. You unlock new stuff as you go along. But I've been thoroughly enjoying it, to be honest with you. I think it's set in, it's either the 80s or the 90s it's set in. And so you get, I think it's the 80s. So you get them big ass American police cruisers. What are they called? The Crown something? Anyway, the big block, massive cars. You know, that sort of roll on the suspension when you're going around corners. So it's like something out of like Starsky and Hutch. You know, like these are not nimble cars while you're cornering and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. But they're good enough to sort of drive around with. But they have that sort of rolling, heavy suspension. I've been enjoying it immensely. So that comes with a hearty recommendation if you're looking for something a little bit different. And as I say, I imagine it's on the Xbox. I don't know. I've not switched my Series X on I switched it on once over Christmas and there was 1 million downloads. And of course, Microsoft being Microsoft, you can't, For some reason, my Series X wants to connect to my internet on the 2.4 gigahertz, megahertz, whatever the hell it is, connection to my router, not the faster 5. So the speeds are pretty naff, even though I'm on full fibre. PS5, my PC, every other bloody device, but you can't actually tell it to connect to the 5. I think it's gigahertz, isn't it? I don't know. Don't matter. You can't force the Xbox to connect to that because of Microsoft. And so I get much slower download speeds. And of course, there was a ruck of downloads that needed to be done because why not? So when I turned it on, it was taking forever to download updates. So I just left it on, and then when it was done, I turned it off. Unfortunately, my Series X is very much a dust catcher these days. Principally because there's nothing coming out for it that's an exclusive. And there's stuff that I can get on other systems. So, yeah, shame really. I do like it as a console, but Microsoft are not giving me any reason to play on it. By the way, I'm fairly certain a simple firmware update to give you the ability to select which channel you want to connect to your router. I don't think that would be complex. They're just being Microsoft. I always find it funny when you go and look on how to do it, they want you to arse about with your router settings. Anything but them doing anything themselves. That's typical Microsoft. It's always somebody else's fault. It's never their fault, even though it is. It's like when they launched Vista and everything stopped working on it. That was everybody else's fault. Not the fact that they programmed a crappy operating system that was garbage. But no, it was like, if your printer stopped working, well, that's HP's fault, even though it worked perfectly fine with the previous version of Windows. You know, instead of just copying over the driver libraries, they blutted it completely and screwed up. That's what they do, don't they? They say Microsoft answer to that is for me to start messing around with the settings on my router when everything else works fine. All my other stuff connects okay and runs okay. It's just the Series X, so it can bugger off. Anyhow, so yeah, going back to the Precinct, highly recommend it. I think it's a great game. It deserves more recognition. To be honest, let's say it's not a simulator. It's like an action RPG type game, because you do level up in it, and you have like all of the leveling up stuff that you would get in an RPG. You get that with it, so it's well worth checking out. And what else? I've been hello doggo. I've been playing, like I always do. I always have a blast in see what mods there are for Doom. Have a playthrough. Some are good, some are not so good. Some of the level design is really good, some of it's very troll-like depending on the mod. But it's always fun to explore, see what there is. Yeah, a bit of that. What else have I been playing? I don't know. I can't remember. I slept since the last time we I made one of these videos, so there's quite a few games I really need to get into. I kind of get into that comfort zone, playing a bit of comfort gaming, you know. So that's sort of how it runs, how it goes with me. And then suddenly it's like, oh, it's like early evening, or, you know, it's sort of late on in the evening, and it's like, oh, I can't be bothered now. So yeah, I'm just trying to think now if there's anything else. There wasn't really at all. Apparently there's a developers direct, they call it, something anyway. Microsoft broadcasting, I don't know when. It's wonderful. Everybody's coming in with the dogs now. See, clearly the apocalypto weather that we're currently experiencing right before your very eyes is not detracting them either. Oh, I'm a sarcastic bastard, aren't I? Ah, well. But yeah, so we've got quite a few. I've got quite a few games to be getting on with. I'm just keeping my eye on a couple of indie games that's in the pipeline. They're in early access at the moment, so I say now I'm keeping that under wraps because I don't want to have played through and finished a game in early access, and then when it comes out there's not much more to the game, and that's been pretty much it. And I was covering that yesterday, so I'm pretty much leaving it at that because I don't want to spoil it. Sometimes like I say, the game comes out and at the end of it all you've not really got an awful lot of game left. You've pretty much played most of it, and so therefore you don't want to be particularly I don't want to be finishing an incomplete game, and then when it is complete there's very little new content to make you want to play through it, especially if the game has performance issues that will be fixed in the final release. I like to play the game at its best, so we'll see. But that's kind of why I'm holding fire a little bit at the moment on some of these indie games, because they are in early access, and I want to experience the finished game. So yeah, from the gaming perspective, or the playing of games perspective, that's pretty much it. He's got some, I don't know if it's a leaf blower or whatever going. Might be on the allotments. Can't see anybody in the park. When we get round, I'll get a better idea. Well, it might be something to do with that, the allotments, building a bunker for this incredibly bad weather that we're enjoying at the moment. You wouldn't let it lie. You know, just as a side note, I've seen some people that have been buying this Commodore 64 Ultimate. I don't want to labour on this point, but I've been watching them taking it out of the case it comes in and putting it in the motherboard and what have you into the C64C case. Why? Why? I mean, surely the whole point is to experience the computer in its original configuration, and surely you're going to have to take some sort of cutting device to your C64C case to allow for the different ports that are on the Ultimate motherboard. I mean, that was built around the bread bin case to start with, and also, even if you had the classic bread bin case, aren't there going to be different ports for different devices, like USB ports, which clearly were not on the original C64? Isn't there going to be that issue? So I don't get the point of it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to buy something and then take a like a saw or some sort of cutting device to the original case. Aren't you gonna like make a mess of the original computer case? I mean, even if your C64C wasn't working, why don't you just buy a working one off eBay and use that, even if the case is duffed in? Swap the internals out, swap the motherboard out. All right, you know, if you want the functionality of the modern C64, I just don't get it. It wouldn't surprise me if they held on that Commodore will do a version of it with the C64C style case, if they can get the moulding for that. I mean, as I say, each to their own, but I just don't understand why you would spend $300 and odd on a computer to then have to take some sort of cutting device to an old case you've got to stick it in that. Don't make any sense, but I don't understand people these days. I would have just waited and see what they were going to do. That's what I would have done anyway. That's pretty much on that, really. All I've got to say about that. It's a bizarre world, retro collecting. People do bizarre things, and you think there would be easier ways of achieving the same result. I don't know. I think that people are... Obviously, it's a hobbyist thing, isn't it? You know, it's a bit of a hobby thing. Yeah, that thing is in where the whatsits are. Is where the allotments are. Just heard it firing up there. But I don't know. What else can I chat about? Oh God, I'm really done. I walk, yeah. I'm only about halfway through what I would normally do around here. What else are we? What else to talk about? There's not a lot really going on, is there? Again, with games, it's quiet. Yeah, no. There was, I'll tell you what, talking about, somebody posted something up on X, and they clearly used AI to make this post. And dear God, it was terrible. It was one of them, you know, where they put like, which was your first controller? And they put up like a picture of like controllers from each system. You know, they never put the full lot up. You know, my first controller wasn't up there. They didn't have the hardwired Radifin TV games, black rectangular, orange stick and button analog controller. They didn't have that one. So that made me feel great. I think the earliest one they had was the Pong controller from the arcade. So technically it'd have to be that, wouldn't it? But what was hilarious about it was the fact that the controllers look nothing like what they did look like in real life. Particularly the Dreamcast one, that was an interesting one. I mean, the Dreamcast controller was quite unique. I mean, it had the little, was it the little, like, what do they call it? VMU, was it? Visual Memory Unit? A little cartridge that slotted into the controller. And that cartridge had its own little, like, Tamagotchi style controls thing on it. Well, you didn't see that. That wasn't what they showed. And it was also like an off-white colour on the controller. And you didn't see that either. Cookies. You didn't see that either. It was some brown thing. And it only had a, well, I don't even know what the hell it was, but it wasn't a Dreamcast controller anyway. And it was the same with quite a number of other controllers. And it was just like, dear God, this is just, what is that? Like, if you're going to make a post, put some bastard effort into it. I know, needless, you know, it got well and truly ratioed in the responses, most of which centered around the phrase AI slop. And I think that's being charitable, to be honest with you. Incredibly shit would be what I would use. Just, I know it's not important, but, you know, it's not very good, is it? If you're going to be doing these type of things, you know, which was your first controller? None of them, because none of them ever existed, from what I can tell. It's like somebody did something from memory of something that they saw once, but as a kid. But yeah, it's kind of like a little, you know, that aside, when you realise your first controller has dropped off the radar, it's that old, and you're like, oh, wonderful, absolutely great. The fucking, thanks. Because they sort of like, as these things go along, they starting like in the NES era now. Well, I mean, that one didn't, but a lot of these type of ones do. Like, nobody played games before the NES era, before the mid-80s, and you're just there like, I've been playing for about 6 years before that thing come out, 6 or 7 years. Actually, probably a little bit more, you know. It's it's quite annoying when you hit that age. And people put up pictures like, you know, they'll show a VCR, or they'll show like a video, no, a VHS cassette. Does anybody remember these? You know, these were around before I was born, and you just want to be like, piss off. Yeah. Feel like putting a picture up of a Betamax tape. Say, do you even know what one of those is? And watch the heads explode. The fact that like they call stuff like CDs retro. It's like, get lost. Still better than downloading crap. It's the like price you pay in it. Getting old. I remember like back in the day. What was the records? Record players used to have 3 speeds. Was it 33 and a third, 78, and 45? And that depended on the record. So an LP would be 33 and a third. I think singles were 78, and I think it was 45. I mean, I can't really remember myself. And that was for like records that come out in the 50s and 60s. My mum and dad had some which played on that weirdo speed. I think it was 45, but I'm not sure. But like when I was a kid, nothing came out. It was either, you know, 33 and a third for an LP, or it was like 78 for a single. I think it was 78. I can't remember now. Was it 45 for a single? No, I think it was 78 for a single. And I can't remember what it was. Anyway, they've got some of these records and they're dead thick. Like the actual vinyl is really thick. And apparently they can be worth quite a bit of money. But I remember that they had a box of them. Some of them would have been unplayable because they were just in this box under the stairs in the house. And some of them didn't even have proper sleeves because at the time a lot of singles just came with a paper sleeve, and over the years those sleeves had been damaged. But I know they had some Beatles records that were of that type. But yeah, the different speeds on a record player. I have to look it up. I'm interested now. I have to look it up. But it was 3 speeds, definitely. And I remember the LPs were 33. And my parents had this thing, they called it a music centre. They didn't call it a hi-fi, they called it a music centre. And it wasn't stacked, it was all laid out horizontally. So you had the turntable, and next to that you had the cassette. And then next to that you had the radio. There was no CD player. And they had that for years, it was great. It was like a piece of furniture. And then Nana, my grandma, she had one that was a piece of furniture. They didn't have a tape deck, it was just a record player and a radio. But it looked like it was like all set in like a wooden sideboard. and the record player was actually inset into this sideboard. On one side you had the record player, and you lifted up the wooden top, to get into the record player, and on the other side was a space where you'd put all of your LPs and singles and stuff on the other side. But when it was all closed up, it was like a solid piece of wooden furniture. And my mum and dad actually had one of them for a while, but yeah, it was fascinating. It really was. And then of course, like, once CDs came out and, you know, they quote unquote upgraded, they then took that and they made it into they took that and then they bought what was then a Sony hi-fi system, called it like a stack, and that had a CD player in it. I remember being blown away. It was quite big, this thing. The Sony stack system, that was great. It was silver, and it had like a smoked glass door in front of it that was magnetically shut, this thing. So you would, when you wanted to open it, you would like press the corner of this door and it would click in and out, and then the door would, I guess, I don't know what the hell it did, but then the door opened, but it was a magnet. But it looked great, and the sound was awesome. It was like one of them sort of mid-80s jobs. You know, it had the speaker volume lit up, these little LED lights, and it had like the graphic equalizer on it. I remember that being a big thing in the 80s, a graphic equalizer. I used to spend ages getting that, setting the graphic equalizer on my own hi-fi in my bedroom. I had this Iowa one. That was awesome. And I spent ages perfecting, getting the graphic equalizer spot on to all of the settings. And then I wrote down what the settings were, because when you came to sort of clean it, you know, you would inevitably, because that one, that was a manual one, and you'd invariably, when you were cleaning it, end up moving the little settings on it. So I had the setting numbers written down. So after I dusted it and cleaned it and everything, I could reset it back to exactly where it was, because I had it so everything sounded really good. And now it's still a thing today, that, you know. It's funny, isn't it, how some bits of technology survive, even if it's in a different form now. Like, it exists on my PC. For my microphone, software has an equalizer on that. See, some tech is that good, you just can't replace it. And automation doesn't work, because it's always down to the individual. It's like, that was the good thing about it, is tailoring something to your own requirements, your own hearing requirements. No two people see and hear things exactly the same, so there's always subtle differences, particularly audio-wise with frequency. And I imagine with eyes, with colour, I mean, you know, aside from people that are colourblind, there are, people do perceive colours in a different way, depending on what, visual things you have going on. I wear glasses, and it's weird, when I look over the top of my glasses, the colour's slightly different than when I look through the lenses of the glasses. I don't know if it's because the lenses are coated. They have like, you know, when you hold it to the light, you can see like a green refraction in the lens. So I don't know if it's to do with that, but it's only subtle, but it's notable at the same time. I have a thing where when playing some video games with a high dynamic range, sometimes I think they look a bit too dark in colour. And that could be something to do with it, I don't know. It doesn't really go as well. I think that and game mode as well. I mean, game mode, I think chiefly is the responsiveness, but sometimes it's a little bit, again, it messes with the colours. I notice it particularly with the PS5. It's pretty spot on with my PC, but when I go from my PC to the PS5, the colours look a bit more muted on the PS5. So it's probably a setting I need to mess about with, but it's not really clear what the issue is. So I'll figure it. It's only been 5 years. Hello, deputy dog. I bet the neighbours have fun when that dog kicks off. They start howling. They're hilarious. Them and huskies. They just crack me up when they start. Oh yeah. What else? I can't really think of anything. Got to be getting close to me time. Let's have a look. Oh, not too far. Not too far. Oh. Yep. Dogs are not happy. Well, the light drizzle has gone away, and that sky doesn't look particularly formidable. I mean, it's grey, but I mean, what day of the week is it here? It's the default setting. Oh, a stiff shoulder today. Getting old. So, I think we'll wrap it up. We'll just go around here and then wrap it up. Wrap it up. Put some wax in the tracks and slide on out of here. If you know, you know. That's all I'm going to say for that one. But yeah, I think we'll call it there, and we'll see whether this weirdo camera has got the right date. Yesterday it was telling me it was the 7th, which was interesting, considering my PC was telling me it was the 8th, but apparently I'd recorded that stuff in the evening on the 7th, which is quite remarkable because I was actually at home. So we'll see if it's done anything weird. It was just a bit bizarre when you're trying to pick out the recordings and it's like, oh, why is everything showing the day before? The recordings were fine and everything, but it was just that. So we'll call it there. A couple of magpies and a pigeon. we'll call it there. And I don't know if I'll be out tomorrow. I don't normally do Saturdays, but I already, because I wasn't out on New Year's Day, I might go out on Saturday and Sunday, but of course it's all weather dependent. So we'll see. We'll see about that. But yeah, we'll call it. Get home, get this uploaded and edited, or edited and then uploaded. It's useful if you do it the right way around. And yeah, that'll be it. So I'll call it there, and see you all on the flip side. I'll catch you all later.